Hi guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of Nuggets News. We are back with Michael, head of all the written research over on the platform, pumping out all that alpha for us daily, Michael. And another pretty interesting news week in world news and crypto news.
Yeah, it seems like again, like it's all converging. We're right in the middle of everything here. Crypto is the appetite of the times, and even though markets have not been as maybe upward this last week, but it's still very bullish in adoption levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's still looking pretty good on our data and metrics, but yeah, just having a bit of a breather before the next chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can jump in. I'm not worried about this little sell off. I feel like this is all pretty healthy into like a sort of a Q4 launch pad type sort of situation.
Yeah.
You can't just have these numbers just go straight up forever. Like, there needs to be some sort of consolidation. So I'm not worried here at all. I think this is all still pretty healthy sort of stuff. It's some pretty red stuff, but that needs to happen to be able to continue that upward momentum.
Yeah, and a lot of our guys that got in early and nailed the bottoms this cycle have started to take profits on things like, Sol hit 250 and all that type of thing. So as I've been talking about in that big picture update, we're in that late stage of the cycle where you should be starting to take profits, particularly on altcoins that you don't
Yeah,
want to be holding
yeah.
into the next cycle.
Just to stress that with everybody, in full transparency, this is my third cycle, and I lost money in the first cycle, like most people normally do, and then the second one did quite well, but round tripped a lot of it, where it's just like, no, this is going to go to this, and you watch your net worth just like multiples up, and you become like drunk and delirious, and so I left a lot on money on the table because I was like all in ready for the next leg that I was just such a believer in, and still obviously was able to benefit from it. But yeah, don't just keep your whole net worth, ready for this rocket ship that you've got some arbitrary number in your mind. Like Alex is saying, continue to take profits along the way.
Yeah, cool. Let's dive into all this news.
All right, so the big one from me this week, this came out 4 days ago. So Vitalik has put out this blog post about like what Ethereum actually is. And now I've mentioned this on the channel a lot over the last sort of almost year, that the biggest knock that I was seeing on Ethereum when 6 months ago, when everyone was hating on it and everyone was calling it dead and Solana was about to usurp it, because Ethereum was making it very easy for the haters to hate on it because the price hadn't done anything. And it seemed like the direction of it was not very clear. And I remember being at Token 2049 a year ago, and Kyle Samani, who's one of the biggest investors in Solana at Multicoin Capital, I believe is the name of his fund, he's just saying, like, we have a North Star here at Solana that we're going to become the NASDAQ on chain. Ethereum doesn't even know what it is. And so this is big from Vitalik because the community has been wanting this. And, low risk DeFi can be for Ethereum what search is for Google. So Google's got a lot of product suites, but its bread and butter has been Googling. And so Vitalik has gone in detail in this post about what he feels like Ethereum is going to be, and how like DeFi can be the home of Ethereum. So it's a really good read. I know the Bankless guys got very excited about this. But I think what it does do is it shows that Ethereum is centering itself now. It's okay, we are what we are. Most of crypto, as we mentioned in the pre-show, Alex, is still very like finance focused. We haven't had some sort of like Web2 killer app that's come on chain that's disrupted everything. So it makes sense that Ethereum would lean into this.
Yeah, it's what I've been wanting to see as well from Vitalik. It's kind of, I've been saying, like, what have we really achieved in the past 10 years? And it's yeah, speculation is an important part of it all, and raising, and some of those companies are going to fail, but some of them are going to succeed and boom. But it's just, for me, the focus hasn't been on anything decentralized, really. For crypto, it's just been this celebrating of, BlackRock and ETFs and stuff, and all these stable coins that are all centralized, that are blossoming. So, yeah, I really hope they do start to focus on building out a decentralized internet, privacy, starting to build, TikTok now owned and bought out by that Israeli investor, and they're going to send some more free speech. So we need social media decentralized apps, and all this stuff has never had a better product market fit. So now we need people to build it out and make it user friendly.
Yeah, a little leak here, but I actually got to interview Gavin Wood from Polkadot this week. Got to meet him in person, interview him, and I'll have more on this later because we're just going through the edit of it. It was just the other day, but yeah, that was the angle there, that what he envisions as a co-founder of Ethereum, that he wants to see like more real world applications now. And it's very easy when you're not like trying to, benefit financially from this ecosystem to focus on more altruistic type sort of things. But that's what his vision was, that he wants, we should stop giving our photos to Apple and Google. We should stop giving our emails to Google and Microsoft. We should stop, using all these internal business tools that are just owned by the big mega corps, but these all should be on chain as well. So yeah, that's the stuff. Okay, so Tether has been the big one with this major last sort of period. I feel like I've got a new Tether article every single week, but $500 billion valuation now in another $20 billion raise. So Tether is just continuing to just become this behemoth, and now it's becoming like its own nation state of finance.
Yeah, and there's some good criticisms of all this as well about, well, how do you justify that valuation with more and more people, more and more competition? This USAT that they've launched last week, we were saying we didn't know the differences, so I looked into it a bit more, and it just looks like an even more stricter compliant US version that's only going to be able to be backed by dollars or securities and all this stuff we've been talking about, where they want to inflate the debt away and create that false demand for bonds, and all heading towards multiple CBDCs. Maybe they don't actually launch an American CBDC. It's just all this stablecoins are so tightly regulated in KYC that is the wolf in sheep's clothing. So again, I'd love to see decentralized stablecoins start to rise and that type of thing.
Yeah, I think we should probably highlight that more as we go on into 2026 as like a group here at Nuggets News, that we can really start to highlight and maybe get a little bit more vocal about the stuff that we're supportive of, because we do have that ethos. And yeah, it's probably a good thing that we pay more attention to the products and the tools. I know you and Martin did a great job with this about what can we do. We could probably do that from a more DeFi angle as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so Archetype is another one here, just another fund, another $100 million into this fund for future-led tech. Stablecoin, again, global payments, on-chain social networks. There's money here for this stuff, and it's all coming on-chain as well.
Yeah, that's what we want to say. Yeah, those social media networks, like we just spoke about.
Yep. Another distribution coming for FTX. So for those who are in the community that's still waiting on money, that's another one that's coming out on September 30. I don't think that this will have a huge impact on the markets or anything like that. We're so big now that this will just get absorbed if it goes into straight sell pressure. Could also be a buying event, who knows? But It's not a big number anymore in the scheme of things. So this is a really interesting tweet I saw the other day from Trevor_Flipper. You can go and have a look here and have a read for yourself as well. But this is this narrative about decentralized perps. And we've seen what Hyperliquid has been able to do, being like that S tier of perps. But for those that are unaware, perpetuals are just effectively, you can leverage trade your tokens on chain, permissionless, no KYC. It's just it does give a lot of power to the people, because it means that you can leverage your capital. But man, it's also in some cases like giving a gun to a monkey, because you can absolutely blow yourself up. And so they go through this here, and there's been a whole bunch of new ones that come out. Like CZ has just had his own, I think it's Aster, Aster. It's just come out as another decentralized perps platform. There's a couple of others which we'll highlight and have articles about. I think Coinbase has gotten behind one as well. The name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah.
But
Aster's been doing really well. But CZ added Binance back to his bio. BNB over $1,000. I'm sure that's probably going to be one that he's going to push to his networks, throughout Asia and the world. So yeah,
there were stories that he could get pardoned as well. He's got his slap on the knuckles, and now he's ready to go back to being crypto billionaire.
Yeah.
So this was just a tweet around the different types of perp models and how Jito is doing it, and how all the different types of perps platforms can work. So Bulk, another $8 million in seed round, just trying to go and figure out this perpetuals market. I think what it does do is it brings a lot of the traditional exchanges that we've had, these big powers like Coinbase and Binance and Bybit and Kraken. It is really, they're going to have to actually compete with on-chain DeFi primitives, which is why we see people like CZ getting involved in, on-chain versions of their core product.
Yeah.
Plasma. So Plasma is actually about to TGE. So for those who haven't been following along, another EVM based network. They're about to drop their token, which I thought was quite interesting because at the same time they came out with an announcement about a new neobank that they're launching. So one of these just like on chain, like we're using blockchain, but using TradFi, like blockchain in the background, but TradFi on the front end to be able to spend stable coins and to be able to get moving money all around the world. Like I would be terrified if I was like a Western Union or a PayPal or a Wise even. Like these guys that are not fully leveraging crypto are about to get blockbusted in a big way if they don't adapt.
And a lot of them are, I think, was it maybe even MoneyGram, but there's a lot of those payment apps now that are incorporating crypto and stable coins because, it saves them money on fees rather than using banks.
Yeah. And I mean, like we've still seen it in Australia. We've seen it in like all of the football codes have had crypto.com as a major sponsor for like the last couple of years. And it's been a terrible time for crypto.com to be a major sponsor as it's been sort of fairly quiet on the altcoin market. But you just see it, it's front and center still for everybody. There's so much money. This isn't going away. There's a bunch of Premier League teams that have like OKX as a sponsorship, for example. It's blockchain rails being used by TradFi, which is going to be the major adopter. Well, let's just hope that it's a positive one, not a negative one.
Yeah.
Another one here, one to watch. So we've seen how Poly Market has just really become mainstream. Like CNBC all the time talking about, using Poly Market for odds and prediction markets has become so mainstream. Well, this is another one, I think is Solana based that has raised $3.5 million in a pre-seed that's going to come for that prediction market crown. So another pretty bullish like narrative that I think is just going to be quite huge on an ongoing basis is, that you can't really fudge the numbers when it comes to capital. I mean, you can, but it takes a lot of money to be able to fudge the numbers because you've got to come in with a massive bet. And so, yeah, another one to watch here. They've raised a lot of money, so this will launch, no doubt, with some sort of token shortly as well.
Yeah, I do love decentralized betting markets.
Yeah, it just gives us an opportunity to be able to see what truth is without a spin on it, because it's kind of like that whole proof of work model. You can't fake the Bitcoin network because you actually have to have the electricity and the capital behind it. You can't fake a prediction market without putting a lot of skin in the game that you could potentially lose.
Absolutely. Well, mate, thanks for that. As always, guys, you can head over to nuggetsnews.com.au, sign up for our free newsletter, all our research or our high net worth client services. And Michael, we'll see you again next week. Cheers, guys.